Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to ask everybody to mute their microphones so we don't get any background issues. Welcome to the Marriott Library Q&A. I am Doreen Nesdell. I'm the Research Data Management Librarian here, and I'll be hosting this webinar session. We're here to address specific information about the Marriott Library, its physical structure, resources, and services that will be provided during the upcoming fall semester. The library has been and will continue to follow the University of Utah coronavirus guidelines concerning safety. Alfred Maudud is head of faculty and services. He'll be our first speaker. He is going to talk about resources and services for the students. Donna Zeigenfuss will be our second speaker. She is in faculty services, and she will be covering teaching resources that you may need. And we'll end with Ian Godfrey, who's the assistant dean and also director of the library facilities. He will be providing a tour of the library. This session, if you haven't noticed it, is being recorded, so we can see it later. And if you have questions for the speakers while they're speaking, please do me a favor and put them in the chat. I'll monitor the chat questions. There will be time in between each speaker to ask questions also, and then there'll be time afterwards to ask even more questions. There'll be ample time to ask questions, and that's the way we planned it, to make sure we get your questions answered. And I think I will hand it over to Alfred.
So my name's Alfred, I'm a librarian. I just want to show a couple of resources that faculty should be aware of. Number one is the Research Guides tab on the library website. There are over 400 different research guides listed here. This is a great way of finding library liaisons for the department or area that you work in. Number two, I'd like to really focus on databases. And we've been adding new databases throughout this past year. One way of searching for databases is going alphabetically, but I'd like to show that you can also search by databases by subject, your department or college, and then if you're doing area in a new area of research, this is a way you can find other people. For example, in kinesiology, we have a list of databases right here. The other way that you can search for databases is by type. And this is one of the more exciting things, I think, is that we've been adding lots of ePrint archives of resources that are available online that have been digitized. With the Black Lives Matter, we have 5 of the 6 of the NAACP papers databases here. We've added a whole bunch of different resources. Every year, we add new databases. And then finally, Ian's going to talk about this more in detail, but one thing that's happening right now is that our physical print collection is not available. That means you can find books online. So if I wanted to find Wallace Stegner's Angle of Repose online, I can do a search in the library catalog. I can just type in Wallace Stegner and Angle of Repose, do a search. I want to make sure that I'm logged in, and then I will see links to some resources. So the physical browsing of our collection is closed right now. The reason why we're doing this is to give equitable access to all the students, staff, and faculty at the U. There is a version of Angle of Repose that has online access. I can click on the link, and then I will link to something that says HathiTrust Emergency Temporary Access. A third of our printed monographs are available this way. This is not everything in HathiTrust, and what I can do is I can click on the link, and it takes a little bit of time, and then when I find the item, I can click on Temporary Access, and I can read the book online. One of the neat things about HathiTrust, it's made by librarians for librarians, is that you can actually do a search for a term in the text. Now, if you want to find all the records in HathiTrust, you can go back to home, And if you wanted to find Wallace Thurman's Blacker the Berry that is available in public domain, you can actually download the entire book. Other databases that you may or may not be aware of that we have is we have both Scopus and Web of Science. Some libraries have only one of these databases. And that's just a brief overview of some of the resources available in the library through the databases page.
Any questions for Alfred? Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, I had a question about Web of Science. You used to have to go to the library in person to do citation.
No,
citation, which I can't think of right now.
Web of Science available online.
That's now fully online.
We have the entire database. We purchased it several years ago. So we both have Web of Science and Scopus. We have both the journal citation reports and the essential science indicators. And if you have questions, Sarah, I'm your librarian for your department. So I'll send you an email about it.
Okay. And then I have one other question. So the main thing that I access from home is to go into Google Scholar through the libraries so that they can use those links that way. But it seems to be a lot of clicks every time. Like I can't bookmark it and have it, you know, do the UTalks, Libris, whatever. Is there any trick for that?
Not really, because you're trying to always save your settings in the cache and stuff like that. So every time you use Google Scholar, I think you should probably just go to the settings, click on the library settings and do that. I think it's safer that way.
Right, I have to do it every time. Okay. And actually not every, it's like sometimes it hangs on for a few hours and sometimes it doesn't. So that's part of why I wonder if I was doing something wrong.
No, you're not doing anything wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm John from the biology department. I couldn't find a zoological record under Web of Science. Do we subscribe to it? And if not, could we subscribe to it? Because a lot of biology research uses papers from the zoological record.
I'm not the biology librarian. I'm part of the science and engineering team. That's an expensive database at the moment. We have millions of dollars of database requests. You can probably find some of the material through a combination of Scopus. There's another biology database that we have. And if you send me some links, I'll send you some resources that we can possibly have that will help you. But we do not have zoological record right now.
We also have a curricula.
What's that?
We also have a curricula, which is agriculture, which does cover zoology.
Yeah, I mean, I've went through the databases pretty thoroughly, and some of my own papers actually are not on Web of Science, but are on zoological record. So I've been like borrowing friends' passwords from Stanford because Stanford subscribes to it, but that's kind of not sustainable because it's getting awkward after a few years to keep logging in through their account into Stanford Web of Science. But anyway, I'll look into it. I mean, I tried pretty much everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Some journals are simply not accessible.
Yeah. So Lynn Shin wants to know about the database Art Store, which required students to sign up and log in on campus. Once it is established, they can log in at home. What will happen to that now? I don't think it changes. Right, Ian?
I'm not sure about that one. I'm not certain.
Oh, so Art Store has something I don't know about. Okay. So we have that question in the chat so we can get a hold of Lynn Shin later. So are there any more questions for Alfred? And so Donna, you are up.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about some online resources that we have been working on this summer to try to make it easier for you to add these into your online courses. So this is our Marriott Library online one-stop resource, and you guys can see that, I hope. This was created by a group of faculty service librarians, Alfred Modowd, Lorelei Rutledge, Talik Kasuchi, and myself. It's a way to pull together resources from the library homepage, resources from library guides, resources from librarian teaching materials, as well as open education resources into one location so that you'll be able to find them easier. You'll notice also that the website is divided into 3 sections: faculty, undergraduate students, and graduate students, because we do have different resources for those 3 different audiences. The link for this is in the chat, and you can also find it by going to the faculty services website. So if you're on the main library website, you can click on services, faculty and instructors, and the link is also here. Also on this website is the specialist link to all of the librarians, so you can find the librarian who is your subject specialist in your area. Okay. On the homepage, this is an open Canvas course so that anyone can access it from that URL. But if you want to enroll in the course, there's a one-click self-enroll. And then what we've been doing is sending out announcements through the announcement feature, but you can't get those unless you're enrolled in the course. There's also a discussion forum where you can leave questions and interact with other people. Okay. Also on this homepage, our quick start list of resources for all library users, like our library services COVID-19 page, interlibrary loans, suggest a purchase, list of library research guides. So all of these links will be for all 3 audiences. We're going to post some new materials so as we get new tutorials created. So Alfred has a really nice tutorial here for his Hathi Trust that he just spoke about. So you can go in and watch his tutorial about accessing books through Hathi Trust. And then we also have a series of modules that we're working on. So these are separate courses, module courses outside of this course that are linked into this course. So for example, I do a 5 top strategies for being an effective researcher, and it's 5 pages that are all linked together, so you can click on that and go out to see that as well. So I'm just going to click on the faculty and staff link here, go to the faculty page. So each of the 3 pages for faculty, staff, undergraduates, and graduates are all laid out in the same format. And they are using the 4 S's of Nancy Schlossberger's theory of transition. So there's a really interesting psychology theory by Nancy that looks at 4 separate areas that we need to be concerned about when people are going through transition: situation, strategies and skills, support, and self. So there's 4 sections on each of these pages containing information. There's also tabs. So for example, on this faculty page, there's tabs for research management. So Doreen's information's on here, as well as the Hive pivot information for grant funding. If you click on teaching library resources, there are some links for designing library instruction in your course that you can use, as well as information about textbooks and open education resources. What are my last tabs here? Tools and resources, citation management links, information about all our storage and sharing possibilities, as well as some publishing links to think about writing productivity and publishing. The support and people focuses more on the people that you need to contact for particular resources that you can use with your teaching and your own research, as well as your students. So you can copy and paste information off of this page and put it directly into your Canvas page. However, if there is a link to a file, you'll have to download the file from this page and upload it into your course in order for it to work, or else it will link back to our course. The last section, the self section, is really important to think about our own self-care during this time of COVID. So we've tried to include some resources for all three populations, faculty, graduate students, and undergraduates here, like linking to the U Wellness exercise videos, UMatch, which is a bulletin board to find childcare during the pandemic, UEN information about learning at home for parents. So these are all, it's not just about doing library research, but it is about the whole more holistic view of serving our stakeholders through the library. So how can you get to this information? I have set up 2 Canvas Commons sites, one for the graduate page and one for the undergraduate page. So you can click here and download this directly into your course. As I said before, you can copy and paste information from pages into your course. You can also request that we share a page with you. So there's this new feature called Send To in Canvas that came out in the spring. So I can click that and then I can pick someone's name and I can send you a page. And you can then preview it and then you can import it, just that one page, into your course instead of going through the whole Canvas Commons thing. You can also enroll a librarian into your course. I've been embedded as a librarian. I'm the College of Education librarian into some education courses so that I can help instructors bring in library content. I can also facilitate a discussion board on research, library research FAQs. In addition to that, you can invite a librarian into your classroom by doing a Zoom presentation. So what we used to do as one-shots coming to your class and doing instruction in the classroom, we can do that through a Zoom presentation as well. We can do Zoom individual and group consultations for your students. So I've been meeting with graduate students all summer, both in groups and individually, to do consultations, library research consultations for capstone and dissertation projects. And then we can also help with helping you design library research assignments. So if you have an assignment in your course for a literature review or for annotated bibliography, or if you're working with students on writing a longer paper, under the teaching, and I think I am, yes. So there's some links here to resources. If you click here, we'll get you some additional resources on our library outcomes. And let me pull this up. Can you guys see this library outcome document? We have 4 library outcomes in the library that you can align to your own course outcomes to take care of some of those outcomes in your course. And if you're interested in more information about that, I'd be glad to help you with that. And you can embed librarians. We can also connect you to other librarians. So I just had a case of a faculty member contact me who was looking for some help with oral history. So we can refer you to digital special collection librarians as well. So these are just a few suggestions on how we can lighten your load this semester, because it is a little bit crazy, right? Any questions for me?
Donna, I apologize if you said this, but my internet connection was kind of cutting out. But I saw in the Commons there's an undergraduate resource. Is that something that's aimed for the undergraduate students?
Yes, so those Canvas Commons courses have the home page, and then they have this single page for the undergraduates.
Oh, okay.
So in the undergraduates, we have navigating the library website. So there's a lot of information about how to log in from off campus, how to access the library. The graduates have an advanced section. So there's general library resources, but then there's advanced resources in using citation management, in using data management for data that they're collecting for their research. So that Canvas Commons just has this undergraduate page, the main page, and there's a lot of underlying detail pages that will come through with that, because a lot of them are linked into these single pages.
A little homework, Donna. Pei Wang is saying the pages are not published and not viewable to us.
These pages
That's what she's saying.
published?
What is the I with a cross through it?
Wait, I can't see the chat from sharing my chart.
I think it's on the left side. If you see the page, if you see the pages, there's an I with a cross through it. You need to.
Oh, these pages, yes, in this course they are.
So
But
this
when you
page
download
is
it
also,
into your course, you'll be able to see it.
okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay, these are hidden from students currently. But when you download it out of Commons, you'll download it into your course and you'll be able to go in and make those visible. So I can go in and show you how many pages there are. There's a lot. So there are some presentations, action research, abstract writing, backward design, developing a research question, some entrepreneurial material that Alfred's created, library FAQs. So all of these are all available for you to use, to adapt, and to download. There is a Creative Commons share-alike license on all of this information. Okay.
Donna, I have one follow-up question for you on this. So in the courses that are being developed at TLT, we have it set so all of those courses automatically link to a resource the library developed called Online Library Help that was geared towards the online students. Is the undergraduate resource, is this meant to replace that Online Library Help, or is it more of a supplement to it?
It's more of a supplement to that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So the online library resource that's in the navigation menu of the online courses goes to a website on the main library webpage. But this contains a lot more information. It contains library research guides and open education objects. It has additional information beyond that.
Any other questions? I'm going to circle back to the art store question because Greg Hatch was nice enough to contact Art Store and get information about using Art Store off campus. There is a link in the chat, and his special note was if you already have an Art Store account and you accessed it while on campus during 2019-2020, your off-campus access has been extended to 365 days. So you should be able to get into it. So are there any more questions for Donna? Okay, Ian, let's see the library.
All right. It's opened.
Can I ask one more question to Donna?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I download I imported the Commons module from there, but the pages are still not viewable. There's no pages option there, so I cannot see the page for faculty you showed us there.
You can go down on your navigation menu. If you go down to the bottom to settings and click on settings and go to the navigation tab, you can drag them up into your menu. Do you want me to share my screen again? Did that work for you?
Yeah, I will try to figure it out. Thank you.
So you just drag them from the bottom menu that's hidden to the top menu, and then you go to the very bottom and you save and update. So I just added the pages and the files here in the main course. not in the Canvas Commons, so you'll be able to see them in there as well. I just moved them in my navigation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, everyone, I'm Ian Godfrey. I'm glad to be talking with you about the library. I want to say as a general statement that we are open. We reopened on August 3rd with reduced hours. Levels 1 and level 2 will be open next week, and on August 24th, the broader library will open. Best thing to do is reach out to lib.utah.edu to check, as we know that this whole semester for all of us is going to be about evolving services and responding to the situation on a weekly basis. So studios will be open, special collections will be open. I'm not going to highlight everything, but all of the services and their scope of openness will be available from that main web page. Wanted to note, in terms of some of the biggest changes, access to the library is going to be limited to current students, faculty, and staff. We've been glad to be able to be open to our external community users, but because seating and services are more limited because of physical distancing, we are limiting access to University of Utah community only. So you will be asked to present your U card at the point of entry to the library. Study spaces have been significantly reduced. We have been very aggressive about trying to maximize study capability in the building, and we have strived to build a number of diverse and inclusive study spaces. Unfortunately, the physical distancing requirements have reduced our student study by approximately 75%. Group study rooms have now been reduced to accommodate 1 student at a time and must be reserved in advance. Campus guidelines ask that students sanitize them before and after use. So this is a shot in our level 3 student living room. These tables typically have 6 chairs around them and are very actively used for student engagement and group work. And you can see that they've been reduced to a single chair. A recently built Catherine's Courtyard, which was an open air space designed to promote group work, performance, and other activities, has significantly been reduced by physical distancing requirements. And in the university's largest computer lab and reference area, the Knowledge Commons, seating at computer terminals and technology has also been reduced. You might be wondering about classrooms and how that is going to run this fall. To assist the university with their significant challenge, scheduling hybrid courses and finding new locations for everything, the university registrar has temporarily taken over scheduling all of the Marriott Library classrooms for fall of 2020. That may continue into spring 2020. So where we have typically been able to schedule space in the library for you, those scheduling requests now need to go to the main scheduling office at scheduling@utah.edu. So if you have a classroom request change, they can help you best find an alternative space. In the classrooms, we were reduced a little less. Classroom capacity was reduced in the campus analysis by about 68% to accommodate physical distancing. So some of our biggest classrooms that seat 95 users now seat 21 users, I think in our most extreme reduction. But we have had the advantage to take some of our large open spaces and support you and campus in turning public space into very large classrooms that can accommodate up to 50 students. And those 3 ad hoc classrooms for fall include the Gould Auditorium and level 2 proto space, which used to be a student study area, and the level 3 grand reading room. So you can see this is one of the 100-seat classrooms that's been reduced to 21 seats. This is an instructor view. This is one of the university's biggest event spaces. This is the Gould Auditorium, and it has been set up as a 50-seat physically distanced classroom. And this is a former book stack space that has been transformed into a 50-seat classroom. So collection access is modified, but I want to reiterate that collections are available to you and available to students. While physical browsing has been suspended, we have a virtual browse in our library catalog that you can use to experience some of that serendipity that you may have had at this in the stacks. Things you should know. Patrons should request through our catalog 24 hours in advance of your desired pickup. So since we're running a little behind and because there's so much process going on into the access of materials, if you want those books on a Friday, you should request them on a Thursday or even as soon as you know that you need them so that the team can make sure that they have those provided for you. If you or your students are unable to come to campus at any point in the semester for any reason, you may be self-isolating, you may be self-quarantined because of family members who may have been exposed to coronavirus, home delivery is available to you. And through our catalog, you can simply put a request note in the request feature that says you'd like things delivered to your personal address. After that first time, there is a one-time setup for home delivery, and ever after that, you can simply request the home delivery option in our catalog. If you'd prefer, and if you're on campus, all other requests will be delivered via our open hold shelf, which is the photo in the very bottom of the screen. Here's an enlarged photo of that. So we know you may be as sensitive as we are about touching things others have touched or waiting in line. So we have developed this system where you can come pick up your bagged requests. So we're placing all your requested material in bags. They'll have your name on them only, and the bag protects your privacy and also deters people from sort of touching the books that you're coming to pick up. Similar to books, our technology, specifically laptops and hotspots, are available to your students if they're having a hard time with their technology needs or connecting to the internet for their remote courses. They can request a semester length checkout of a laptop or a hotspot, and they can make that request known through this request form that I've put at the bottom of the screen. That's also linked off of the lib.utah.edu coronavirus page. Another big change for us is we are only able to offer electronic reserves for fall semester. And that's to assure students equitable access to materials no matter where the student is, and recognizing that students may start the semester online and at any point for personal reasons or because a campus-wide decision, they may end up taking courses at home remotely. So to best prepare for the entire semester, those reserves are limited to electronic format. We have typically purchased physical books to support your course reading. We're doing that whenever we can with an electronic copy now. A caveat there is some publishers do not allow us to buy site licenses for a particular ebook. And in those cases, we'll work with you to digitize a portion of the print material in accordance with the University of Utah's copyright policy. And if you haven't been on the reserve request list or you have questions about how we can support you in course reserve, their email is listed at the bottom of this page. and I can take any questions about the physical space, access to collections, or operations in general at the library for fall.
Ian, I don't know if you mentioned it, but I'm wondering, are you going to be providing faculty with books on campus?
We are not able to offer our campus delivery service to individual offices because the campus building access is and will be so irregular. So home delivery is the alternative option if you do not want to come to the library or have an inability to come to the library to pick up.
And in case somebody didn't hear it, the students can check out laptops for a semester, laptops and hotspots for a semester.
Right.
Anybody have any other questions about anything?
Ian, yeah, the putting things will be put out at the open shelves in the west lobby once a day, right?
Correct.
So do you know the time of day yet? Or is that still in flux?
It is a staggered, it's a staggered delivery because we've got our technology team, our automated retrieval center team, our pull service team, and interlibrary loan. So they'll be staggering those throughout the day. But generally, Robert, the time of day that we're telling everyone is 5 p.m.
Okay. Any other questions? Don't forget to unmute yourself. So if you think of a question later, I put all the emails of the speakers in the chat. And also you can just get online and the library website and look for us now that you know where to find your departmental librarian. Any last words by any of our speakers? Everybody has said what they did, and if there aren't any more questions, then I think that this session is over. Don't forget, this will be recorded.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.